The Young and the Restless spoilers unmasking the monster. Ian Ward's plan falters in the bustling square of Genoa City. Mariah carried Aria in her arms, enjoying a rare moment of peace in a world often fraught with drama. She hadn't noticed the man at first, a seemingly unremarkable figure blending into the crowd. But as their paths crossed, something about him felt wrong. His eyes lingered too long, his movements too calculated. Mariah brushed it off, telling herself she was being paranoid. But as the man approached, asking an innocent question about directions, she caught the faintest hint of familiarity in his voice. Then she saw it, a subtle twitch in his jaw, a glint in his eyes that struck her like a lightning bolt. Her heart stopped. It couldn't be. But it was. Ian Ward, she gasped, her voice trembling as realization dawned. Her body froze with terror, her arms instinctively tightening around Aria. The man's disguise, an unassuming jacket, a gray cap pulled low over his eyes, had fooled everyone else. But not Mariah. Not the woman who had been through so much because of him. "It's him," she shouted, her voice rising in panic. "That's Ian Ward. A monster. Someone stop him." Chaos in the square. Mariah's scream shattered the relative calm of the square. People turned to look, their expressions a mixture of confusion and alarm. Ian, for all his cunning and manipulation, hadn't anticipated this. His hand twitched toward his pocket, but he stopped himself. He wasn't carrying anything incriminating. For now, he was still a free man. "Calm down, young lady," Ian said, his voice deceptively smooth, a mockery of concern. "I don't know who you think I am, but I assure you, you've made a mistake." But Mariah wasn't fooled. She clutched Aria tightly, backing away as her voice grew louder. "He's lying. He's Ian Ward, and he's dangerous. Someone call the police." Chance and Nick arrive as if on cue. Chance Chancellor and Nick Newman arrived on the scene. Chance's hand rested on his holstered weapon, his sharp eyes scanning the scene for threats. Nick's face darkened as he spotted Ian, recognition sparking instant anger. "It's him," Mariah said desperately, turning to them for support. "You know it's him, Nick." Nick stepped in front of Mariah, shielding her with his body as he glared at Ian. "What the hell are you doing here?" he demanded. Ian raised his hands in mock surrender, his expression calm. "Nick, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just passing through. Last I checked, walking through a public square wasn't a crime." Chance's hand tightened around his weapon, but he hesitated. Ian was right, technically, he hadn't done anything illegal. The law, frustratingly, was on his side. "Nick declares a state of emergency." Nick's jaw clenched as he turned to Chance. "You know what he's capable of. We can't let him out of our sight." Chance nodded, his instincts screaming that Ian was up to something. "I'll keep a close watch on him," he assured Nick. "But we can't arrest him without cause." Nick's voice was firm as he addressed the crowd. "Everyone, stay calm. Ian Ward is dangerous, but we can't act without evidence. If you see him near Mariah, Claire, or any other vulnerable person, report it immediately." Turning back to Chance, Nick added in a low voice, "He's here for a reason. He doesn't make casual visits. I need you to follow him, discreetly. Don't let him out of your sight." Mariah must leave Genoa City. Mariah's panic hadn't subsided. She clung to Aria, her heart racing as Nick turned to her with a grave expression. "You can't stay here, Mariah. Not with Aria. You're his target." Tears welled in Mariah's eyes. "But where will I go? This is my home." Nick placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "I'll make sure you're safe. You can stay with family out of town until we handle this. But you need to go now. Ian doesn't give up easily, and I won't take any chances with your safety." Reluctantly, Mariah nodded, her love for her daughter overriding her hesitation. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll leave. But please, Nick, catch him. Don't let him hurt anyone else." Ian's plan falters as Mariah was escorted to safety. Ian's calm facade began to crack. His plan had relied on stealth and manipulation, on staying unnoticed long enough to execute his next move. Mariah's outburst had ruined everything. He retreated to a nearby alley, his mind racing. He couldn't afford to stay in Genoa City now, not with Chance and Nick breathing down his neck. But leaving meant abandoning his mission, and that was something Ian wasn't ready to do. "Damn her," he muttered, his voice low and venomous. "She won't get the better of me." Chance's pursuit from a distance, Chance observed Ian's retreat. He had taken Nick's warning to heart, and now he followed Ian, keeping his distance as he moved through the city. Ian's every step, every movement, was recorded in Chance's mind. The time would come when Ian slipped up, when he made the mistake that would finally put him behind bars. But for now, Ian Ward remained a free man. And as long as he walked the streets of Genoa City, no one was truly safe. A past that won't stay buried, Mariah's fear of Ian Ward. Mariah Copeland had worked tirelessly to reclaim her life. After years of trauma and manipulation at the hands of Ian Ward, she had finally found peace and happiness. Her new life, centered around her partner Tessa and their baby Aria, was everything she had ever dreamed of, a world filled with love, hope, and family. But Ian Ward's sudden reappearance in Genoa City had shattered her sense of security. Memories she had buried deep resurfaced, haunting her like ghosts from a life she desperately wanted to forget. A nightmare resurfaced years ago. Ian had kidnapped Mariah, manipulated her, and brainwashed her into believing she was his daughter. His goal was insidious: to use her as a pawn in his vendetta against the Newman family. The scars of that experience had taken a long time to heal, but Mariah had fought through the pain with Sharon and Nick's support. Cassie's death had left a void in Sharon and Nick's lives, and Mariah's return to them had been bittersweet. She wasn't Cassie, but she had found her own place in their hearts. And for the first time in her life, she had felt truly loved. Now, as she held Aria close and thought of Ian's icy stare in the square, she couldn't shake the question that burned in her mind: what does he want this time? Mariah's inner turmoil. Sitting in her living room, Mariah hugged her knees to her chest as Tessa gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've been quiet since the square," Tessa said softly, her voice laced with concern. "Are you okay?" Mariah looked up, her eyes glassy with unshed tears. "No," she admitted. "I can't stop thinking about him. Ian Ward isn't just some random threat, Tessa. He's my nightmare." Tessa frowned. "He can't hurt you anymore, Mariah. We'll keep you safe." Mariah shook her head. "That's what I thought last time. But he always finds a way. What if he tries to take me again? What if he wants Aria? What if—" Her voice broke, and she buried her face in her hands. Tessa knelt in front of her, taking her hands gently. "Listen to me. Ian Ward doesn't control you anymore. You've built a life, a family. He can't take that away from you." Mariah nodded, but deep down, the fear lingered. Ian Ward was a man who thrived on power and control. He didn't just ruin lives, he dismantled them piece by piece. And now that he was back, she couldn't help but wonder if she would ever truly be free of him. Ian's sinister plan. Unbeknownst to Mariah, Ian Ward was already putting the finishing touches on his latest scheme. Sitting in a dimly lit motel room, he leafed through old photographs of Mariah, Sharon, and the Newman family. His expression was one of cold determination. "Mariah," he murmured, his voice low and venomous. "You were my greatest creation, my perfect instrument. And now you've turned against me." He threw the photographs onto the table, his mind racing. Mariah had been an integral part of his revenge against the Newmans, and her rejection of him had been a blow to his ego. He had spent years plotting his return, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But this time, he wasn't interested in reclaiming Mariah. His goals had evolved, his ambition growing darker. Ian wanted to destroy the Newmans completely, and he intended to use Mariah's new life as leverage. Mariah's resolve. Later that night, Mariah sat in her daughter's nursery, watching Aria sleep. The soft glow of the nightlight bathed the room in warmth, but Mariah couldn't shake the chill that ran down her spine. She thought about her past, about the years she had spent trapped in Ian's world. It had been a prison of lies, fear, and manipulation, a life she had fought tooth and nail to escape. She vowed never to return to that nightmare. But as much as she wanted to leave the past behind, Ian's reappearance made that impossible. If he was back, it wasn't by accident. He had a plan, and she needed to know what it was before it was too late. Mariah stood, her resolve hardening. She wouldn't let Ian Ward dictate her life again. She wouldn't let him steal her happiness. For Arya, for Tessa, and for herself, she would face her fears head-on. Nick and Chance, a plan in motion meanwhile, at Newman Enterprises, Nick Newman paced back and forth in his office. Chance sat across from him, a notebook open as they discussed Ian's movements. "He's up to something," Nick said firmly. "Ian Ward doesn't show up without a reason. He's planning something, and we need to figure out what it is before it's too late." Chance nodded. "I've had a team monitoring him since the incident in the square. So far, he hasn't done anything illegal, but he's definitely keeping a low profile. He knows we're watching him." Nick clenched his fists. "We can't let him get near Mariah or Arya. I want them protected at all costs." "They will be," Chance assured him. "But we need more than just surveillance. We need to know what he's planning." Nick's jaw tightened. "He won't win this time. He's ruined too many lives already. I won't let him destroy Mariah's." What lies ahead as Genoa City braced itself for Ian Ward's next move, Mariah prepared for a fight she thought she had left behind. The stakes were higher now, with her family's safety on the line. But this time, she wasn't alone. She had Nick, Chance, Tessa, and Sharon by her side. Ian Ward might be a master manipulator, but Mariah was no longer the vulnerable girl he had once controlled. She was a mother, a partner, and a fighter. And she was determined to protect her family, no matter what it took. But as Ian's plans unfolded in the shadows, one question loomed large: could Mariah's strength and determination outmatch the twisted schemes of a man who thrived on chaos?